Woo.
Welcome to Night Talks, the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications talk show produced by students for students. I'm Alexandra Grunfast, a freshman studying media production, and our guest today is Virginia Grant, an outreach specialist with Feathr, who is also the executive director of the Gainesville Black Professionals and publisher of Synergy magazine. Hi, Virginia. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me. It's an honor.
As a graduate of FAMU and Nova Southeastern University, what was your experience like as a first-generation student, and how do you think your education impacted your career trajectory?
Being a first-generation college student was interesting because whereas some of my peers knew what to expect when they came to college, me and my family, we had no idea. We didn't know how to prepare, we didn't know what to pack, we didn't know what to take, what to leave home. So everything was new to us. Everything about it was new. But at the same time, it was very rewarding because socially I learned, academically, of course, I learned, but there was so much that going to college gave me that I would not have gotten in the small little town that I grew up in. So just the exposure, I'm sure, changed everything.
After graduation, you worked as a therapist for almost 20 years before changing careers to communications. What spurred that shift?
Yeah, so what happened was I had always been very involved in the community. So any organization that I participated in, even in my church groups, I ended up always being the event planner. I don't know how I got designated as the event planner, but that was always ended up being my title in any volunteer role that I played. And I realized I really loved it. Like, I truly enjoyed it. So as that matured, I eventually founded Gainesville Black Professionals, and Gainesville Black Professionals was all about communication. It's about marketing. If you start a new organization or you start a new business, if you're going to be successful, you better be communicating, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
Wow. Was there any focus on event planning in college, or was it really just the volunteer work that you did outside?
Yeah, it was truly just the volunteer work that I did in the community, and I just began to love it. I didn't even realize I loved it. Like, I took a psychology degree at FAMU, and then I majored in mental health counseling as my master's degree. So far removed from event planning, yeah.
What were those experiences like as a mental health therapist? Did you feel like you were able to really make an impact in the clients and the people that you worked with?
Yes and no. Sometimes I felt like I was really making a difference. The drawback to mental health counseling, especially in a community hospital environment, is that some people are coming there under duress, meaning that a judge has said, hey, you got to go do 3 months with a therapist, or they may be involved with DCF, and the Department of Children and Families has said, hey, in order to get your children back, you got to take a parenting class. So they're not happy when they get to me. If you're able to work through that resistance and help them to really understand there is some value in therapy, and they begin to work the process, then you see results. So then you're extremely happy. And then I spent a little while working at a psychiatric hospital where, yes, you see the results immediately. Like, you find people that really come in crises. Like, they cannot imagine, they cannot believe their world is like it is right now. And they just need someone to say, it's okay. Tomorrow is going to be better, and help them to work through that and talk through that. And so then, yes, you definitely see the impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like working both at the psychiatric hospital and with Gainesville Black Professionals?
Doing both of those at the same time was like extreme opposites. Because when I was at the psychiatric hospital, I was doing weekends. But it was beneficial to me because I was able to do Monday through Thursday with Gainesville Black Professional, and it was the early years. So like, everybody thought that was my full-time jobs because I was going to meetings, I was going on lunch dates, just everything. So I really had that time to focus and really do the foundational work that was necessary. So most people didn't even know I had another job. Like everybody was like, oh, that's Virginia, Gainesville Black Professionals. And that's all they, acquainted me with was Gainesville Black Professionals. So the time working at the psychiatric hospital helped me to really build Gainesville Black Professionals because it gave me all of that free time during the week. But it was kind of mentally draining because on Thursday, like I had to shut down and completely shift gears and like, okay, now we got to go into hospital mode and rehab mode and all that stuff. And then Monday morning, you're shifting back to Gainesville Black Professionals. So they were complete opposites, but at the same time, it really served a purpose and it really allowed me to put the legwork into Gainesville Black Professionals that it needed at that time. Yeah.
Producing marketing for a national comedian must have been a unique experience and had unique challenges. What were some of the promotions you executed for that client, and how have skills gained at that time continued to serve you today?
Yeah, another great question. I really enjoyed working with Samore and her team and them just allowing me to learn so much from them because like I said, my background is not communications. I had done a lot of events and that's kind of how they brought me into the team was an event planner, event management. But guess what? If you want a successful event, you've got to market or you'll be there by yourself, right? So I quickly learned marketing is key. So we did everything, television, radio, print media, digital marketing. So I quickly had to learn like how do all these marketing pieces work together. So definitely I am certain that that led and has helped me with some of the other roles that I've played.
You must have had some good mentors in that role.
I did, yes. Wayne Baxley, man, I owe so much of my career to him. Like he really took the time to teach me and let me sit in on meetings that I otherwise may not have been in or should have been in, and would just take me to the side like, Virginia, this is what's happening right now. I know you see this, but I want you to understand this is really what's taking place. So he taught me so much. He taught me how to negotiate deals, how to approach people when I wanted to make certain things happen, what the value in the event was. Man, I had an awesome mentor.
What role has faith played in your life and in your career?
Everybody, most people know my story, and I had had a really horrible marriage, and I got a divorce, and in me getting a divorce, I knew God wasn't pleased with that, because God honors marriage, and He wants marriage to exist. But I needed to ask Him permission to leave this marriage, and I did. And I said, but if you allow me to leave this marriage, I promise I will work every day to be in your perfect will. Just give me anything you say do it, I'll do it. Over the next couple years, different ideas came to me, different thoughts came to me. I would actually start websites, incorporate businesses. Like it was the craziest thing. Like all these thoughts came to me. And then one day, Gainesville Black Professionals just fell into my spirit. And when I look back, it was a compilation of all of those ideas that I had had over the last couple years. So my faith and my wanting to be obedient to God and to serve Him is what started this organization. And the organization has not only been fruitful for me as an individual and allowed me to grow so much, it has also impacted the community. So faith, just that ability to listen and hear from God and then execute what He ushers you to do. It's just so amazing.
Speaking of Gainesville Black Professionals, what is the mission of the organization? And as executive director, what does your role entail?
The mission of Gainesville Black Professional is to showcase the contributions and accomplishments of Black professionals to our community. And the reason we want to do that is because we think that that lends itself naturally to diversity. Our community is diverse, but in some spaces it doesn't feel really diverse. So we want to kind of infiltrate those additional spaces that need a little bit more diversity. So my role as the executive director is to maintain and create platforms that will lend itself naturally to that. Like we just did the Black Professionals Expo a couple weeks ago, and in that one of our days was a community connector where we actually brought out companies, nonprofits, startup groups so that they could speak to Black professionals as potential candidates for hiring or just to network and connect. So we just really want to, like I said, showcase Black professionals, because sometimes the Black professional gets overlooked in the community, and not overlooked in the sense that we don't recognize that they're here, but overlooked in the fact that we don't always appreciate and acknowledge the contributions they have made to our community. And I think it's important that we do that.
With so much networking going on at your event, have you been able to see increases in the audiences for different professional organizations that you've had at your expo?
Yeah, so what's amazing to me is that every time I host an event, someone comes to me and tells me what magic has happened at a previous event. People have gotten hired. We had one young lady that came to an event, and two gentlemen that were at the event sponsored a trip for her to go to Detroit. There's a conference there every year for women of color that are in engineering and technology, right? And so she was having the hardest time finding a job, and she went to this conference. She came back with 3 amazing job offers and literally just packed up and moved to Texas. So yeah, we have amazing events. We partner with the Community Foundation, and we have helped them to help diversify boards of nonprofits in Gainesville. And we actually see numbers, like we see results. And that's what's most amazing to me, is that as we're doing the work, we're also seeing the outcome of the work.
That's probably incredible motivation to keep going and keep helping other professionals in the community out.
It is. I feel so humbled to be able to be a part of it. You know, because everybody attributes it to me, but it's not me. All I did was just host an event that brought a lot of people together, and then they was like, hey, let's do something great with it.
Keeps on giving.
Yeah, keeps on giving. I like that.
When you began this organization, what impact did you foresee it having? Did it meet your expectations or exceed them?
So when I started Gainesville Black Professionals, I just needed a place where I could come together with other Black professionals. So that truly was my expectation. My expectation was, hey, let me have a whole bunch of Black professionals in one room together for this Black positive energy. You know, like we all need our spaces sometimes. So I would say yes. It has far exceeded my expectations. I had no idea that we would produce a magazine. I had no idea that we would have a 3-day Black Professionals Conference. I had no idea that people would actually get jobs from coming to events, like 6-digit figure salaries from events that we've hosted. I had no idea that we could make a difference like this.
How do you promote events such as the Expo? And do you have a team behind you helping you run all of these events?
Yes. Absolutely, we have a team behind me. I cannot do this all by myself. So we have a team of some great professionals. We call them our ambassadors, and they help behind the scenes to put all this together. As far as promoting the expo, we use every channel possible. We have a database, so our email marketing is really helpful. But I think that we approach our marketing and promotions with the philosophy that even though a lot of people know about us, there's always more people that we can reach. So we try to just blast it everywhere, radio, television, print. So we just try to be all over. Yeah.
And how did you find those ambassadors? How did they all come together?
Yeah, so the original group of ambassadors were really just kind of led together. Like they were some of the people that were really coming to most of our events. Some of them was like, hey, I just want to get involved. So it was a combination of things. And now we just have kind of like an application form on our website. So if anyone is interested in helping volunteer, they can become a part of it that way.
That's amazing. Such a great way to get involved.
Yeah, so we're currently looking for more ambassadors. So if there's anyone that's interested in volunteering, let us know.
In 2018, you launched the magazine Synergy, a collaborative guide to economic discovery. What was your inspiration behind starting Synergy, and how broad is your target audience?
Yeah, so Synergy started out as me wanting to do a professionals directory. You know how you have like a business directory? Yes. But I wanted to have like a professionals directory so that professionals could like showcase themselves, basically like have the headshot, kind of like a bio, that type of thing. I was like, but I don't know how you would fund that because they're not going to necessarily pay for that. Will we be able to get people to advertise that? So I started talking to some different people, and we gradually realized, okay, instead of doing a directory, what if we just actually wrote articles about professionals. So then it becomes a magazine about professionals in our community and the contributions that they're making. And then now you can fund that because you can solicit advertising and people will really buy into it that way. So that is how Synergy came about. Yeah.
What has been your favorite part of working with this magazine?
Oh, just the fact that like this is so outside of my training, my expertise, my academics. Like I knew nothing about journalism, but this is another example of how faith comes into play because we set out, we said we were going to do a magazine, and somebody must have got wind of the fact that we were doing a magazine, a friend of mine or colleague or someone, and he introduced me to actually a student at the University of Florida, right, who was getting ready to graduate. And I went and I met with him and we had lunch and I was telling him about the idea to start the magazine. And he was like, oh man, I would love to do that and be a part of that and help out. And I said, well, we're having our first planning meeting. And so he came to the first planning meeting, right? This kid is so amazing. He just sat down and he took over. He literally took over the meeting. He was like, I need this, 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 gave us all our walking orders and helped us produce the most fabulous magazine.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah, it was amazing. So then, you know, working with him, I was able to gradually learn like, okay, you need this, you need that. This is how you get that. So like, oh, I guess he became a mentor too because he taught me a lot of things. So he was another awesome mentor. So yeah, it's just people falling into place and taking over and playing their role and just making amazing things happen.
What is it like producing a publication? What's some of the legwork that goes into it and the specifics that are needed?
I think building your content is a big portion of publishing a magazine. So when we put it together, even though we're featuring Black professionals, we have to still be mindful of having some diversity in there. So we want people from different industries, we want people from different age groups, people from different levels of management in their careers. We want people that are business owners. So I think it's first identifying what you want to cover in the magazine. And then also having your staff, having your writers, your editors, your designer, and being able to coordinate between those entities to make sure that it all comes together. And then we only publish Synergy annually. So to really like immerse it into the community and make a big deal out of it, we always have a live unveiling. So at the same time that we're putting the magazine together, we're also planning a live unveil. So that's always a lot of fun because it's making sure you have everybody there, that you're marketing it and that you're promoting it. So it's a lot of fun. So it's putting the magazine together, making sure that content is there, that it's laid out properly, that your advertisers have their ads in at the right time. And we even design some of the ads. So we have a huge design team that really works really well with our advertisers to make sure that we produce what they want. Our writers are awesome with interviewing the features and just really making sure that we capture their story. And I think that's another part that's really important, is just making sure that we capture the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've said that Synergy serves as an inspiration for our youth, the next level of professionals in our community. What is the main takeaway that you hope they get from this magazine?
Yeah, I want them to know that there is greatness that exists in their community. As a young person, I didn't see a lot of great professionals, even though in hindsight I look back and I see that they were there. I just did not value them because they were like just, you know, regular people to me, but I didn't understand how great they really were and how much they impacted the community. So I hope that like these people that they see in Synergy and then they bump into them in public, they're like, oh my God, here's like a real important person that's right here that I can have an actual conversation with, that I can ask them, well, how did you get this job? What did you do to get here? And they begin building these professional relationships even as a young person.
That is so important, growing up, being able to network and know that there are people in your community that you can talk to.
Exactly, and that you don't have to leave your community to find a great job or to have a great career or to start a business. Like a lot of people feel like they got to go to California, they got to go to New York, they got to go to the happening places, but our own city is happening.
What do you wish you knew as a young girl and future professional, and how are you reflecting this and these ideas in the content that you publish?
I wish I knew how to connect better, how to network. Like you just said, the young people beginning to network early, and not so much in the sense that you're looking to achieve anything from the networking or you're trying to get something out of the networking, but just the understanding of how much value comes with networking, socially, emotionally, and like you say, also professionally. You could always get a job out of it or start an organization out of it. Like there's so many things that can come out of networking, but at the core and the basics of it is just building healthy relationships, building a base around you that you know that there's always someone there that can, if you don't know it, someone knows it, or someone can help you get to where you want to be. So I think as a youth, if I look back, I wish I understood the value of networking a little earlier and how to navigate that.
Do you think your degree in psychology helped this aspect in your life now?
I do, because I think that my degree in psychology really helped me and trained me in how to interact with people, how to listen to people. And I think especially with the organization and our push for diversity, sometimes we don't hear each other. And I think that I have that ability to listen and really hear and then communicate. And I think that when you're communicating with people who feel heard, you get a better response.
In 2019, you began working for Feathr as an outreach specialist. Tell us about Feathr and the services you offer clients.
Cool. So Feathr is a digital marketing company, but technically we're not really a digital marketing company. What we are is a tech company because we offer an app that helps organizations, nonprofits, associations market their events. See how? Event planning.
Oh, yeah.
We help companies, like I said, associations, nonprofits, to promote their events through digital marketing. You'll see, if you go on Google and you search for a black shirt, you will begin to see all these black shirts from all these different companies trying to sell you a black shirt, right? So Macy's understands the value of retargeting you. Dealers understands the value of retargeting you, but a lot of associations did not understand that and still don't understand that. So we help associations understand that if someone comes to your website interested in your conference, but they don't register for the event, you have a second opportunity to reach them, and you can use digital marketing to do that. So we've taught them how to, if someone visits your website, you can send them an ad later like, hey, don't forget the conference. Hey, you forgot to register, and continue to retarget them. Because the more that they see, just like the more that you see the black shirt, eventually you're gonna fall in and you're gonna buy the black shirt whether you really needed it or not. If we keep marketing to them, they will eventually register for the conference. And a lot of associations were not taking advantage of that mode of marketing.
How did this idea come about?
So 2 kids from the University of Florida, Aiden and Alec, were sitting in their dorm room one day and was like, I think we can make this work. So like they're 2 college kids from the University of Florida, believe it or not. I met Aiden because we were both serving on a board with the Chamber of Commerce. And we just sat next to each other during one of the board meetings and just struck up conversation, right? And he told me about Feathr, I told him about Gainesville Black Professionals, and I immediately fell in love with Aiden and Feathr. I just really did. Like, he talked about the company, he talked about how they started the company, the culture of the company. I was like, that's where I want to be, right?
Yes.
But I wasn't ready to make a change. So a couple months later, believe it or not, I ended up leaving the psychiatric hospital, and I just took a few months off. Like, I don't know what made me do that, but I was like, hey, it's just time for a break. So I left the psychiatric hospital, spent a few months at home, just kind of like relaxing, doing whatever I wanted to do. Then I was like, you know, you got to go back to work. So I was like, okay, it's time to go back to work. So I actually text Aiden, like, hey, Aiden, wanted to learn more about opportunities at Feathr. And he was like, well, are you inquiring for yourself or for someone else? I said, yeah, myself. So ring, ring, he called me and we started talking, and I went through the whole application process and everything, and I was chosen for one of the positions at Feathr. So that's how I ended up being there. But they have an amazing culture. I just love working there. It truly, for me, has been healthier work environment than even some of my jobs as a mental health therapist.
Wow.
Yeah.
With so much of the world now connected, how is digital marketing evolving?
Yeah, digital marketing is like the next wave of marketing because everybody can tap into it. It's not very expensive, and it is becoming so niche that you can like really zoom in to the market that you want, and once you capture them, they're yours. So it's not like running a television ad where like all these millions of people see the television ad, but you don't know who that million people are. With digital marketing, you can actually reach those same 1 million people or more, but you have access to them now. So then you can send them an email later, you can send them another type of marketing later on. I think it's revolutionary, definitely the way we're going.
What advice would you share with those just entering the workforce and trying to find their niche?
Be open. Be open to opportunities. Realize that opportunities are everywhere.
Yes.
Diversify your network. And what I mean by that is go to different networking events, visit different areas of the state, of the world, talk to people that look like the opposite of you. And I suggest that because I don't think we always understand and value what differences can offer us as an individual. So what's different about someone else from you, if you were able to gain that skill or embrace that somehow, that makes you a more well-rounded person. And you don't know where that can lead you later. So I would just say, just be open to the possibilities, look for opportunities in places that you may not think that they are, and realize that every encounter is potentially an opportunity.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Absolutely.
It was so interesting hearing about the role that faith has played with you and how your journey has gone from going to school and then now to starting Gainesville Black Professionals and Synergy and working with Feathr. Thank you so much again for your insight, and to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, good night.